Lads, we're back, and here today, time of day, we are going to do a Dinomist deck profile. This is my take on the deck. I've had a lot of fun with this deck. It's one of my favorite decks to use, the Dinozord deck, if you will. So let's morph into action. It's more phenomenal, and let's have a fun deck profile, if you will, this evening. This is only going to be main and extra. It's not going to be the side deck tonight, mostly because the side deck is up to personal preference, and this one is still not 100%, but it's still a really, really fun deck. And it's very budget friendly because it's all pretty cheap. It's all relatively affordable. So we're going to start off with 2 copies of Dinomist Rex. Rex is important as a scale 6. It's non-targeting removal. It can shuffle something back in the deck. And it can do piercing damage. It's a big body. It's super strong. And then all the scale 6s share an effect of, well, this card's in the pendulum zone. You can negate an activated effect that targets another Dinomist card you control and destroy it. So it gives protection to your Dinomist card. So if you get stuck into just Dinomist summoning, you can just blitz your opponent with big monsters, and they have a lot of complementing effects. So next up is 2 copies of Dinomist Brachion. Brachion is your Cyber Dragon. You can run Cyber Dragon in this deck. There's 3 cards you can substitute Cyber Dragon in for if you so desire, or other engines, just depending on what you're in the mood for. But Brachion is your Cyber Dragon. So if you go second, this card will special summon itself, which is really good for turboing out Electromite, but it's better as a 2-of in the main, just preparation-wise, and it's a scale 6, so that's really important. 3 copies of Dinomist Plesios. Plesios is really important, so when you're locked into just Dinomist cards, this drains 100 attack. Hold on, this is uneven, and it's driving me insane. There we go. I don't know why I just noticed that. This gives you minus 100 for each Dinomist card, so you can have up to 10, because unfortunately there's no extra deck monsters for Dinomist, which is sad. But if you have 2 of these out, they lose 200 attack for every Dinomist card, so they start out at a negative 400, which is pretty incredible. The last of your scale 6s is 2 copies of Dinomist Ankylos. Ankylos will let you banish any monster destroyed by battle with a Dinomist monster. It's a big booty, and it's level 4. All the Dinomist cards are either level 4 or level 5, which is important because they're only 3 and 6 scales. And that is going to be it for the 6 scales. Next up are the 3 scales, so we're going to go to 2 copies of Dinomist Spinos. So Spinos is your OTK machine. It can tribute a Dinomist card and it can attack your opponent directly. And if you tribute 2, because it's not a once per turn effect, you can attack twice. So you can deal 5,000 damage with this. If you run limiter removal in your variant, you can deal 10,000 damage immediate and win. It's a 1-card OTK. Well, it's a 3-card OTK, but with pendulum summoning. And then because it's a scale 3, all the scale 3s share the same effect as Dinomist. If another Dinomist card you control would be destroyed by battle or by an opponent's card effect, you can destroy this card instead. So it gives your Dinomist cards a lot of protection. Next, the best level 5, Ceratops. If you control another Dinomist monster, you can special summon this card once per turn. From your hand, it's a hard once per turn to special summon it that way. It's a big 2100 body, and it really does. It's Electromite Turbo. If you open just any level 4 Dinomist and it's you go straight into that. Next up are 3 copies of Dinomist Terran. Terran is your searcher. If he deals damage, it allows you to search the deck. And it's a 3 scale, so that's important. And then the final 3 scale, 2 copies of Stegosaur. Stegosaur, it'll destroy it'll destroy the other monster if your Dinomist monster battles a monster. That's it for the 3 scales. And that's it for the Dinomist monsters, which is not a huge part of the deck. It's not a huge engine, so it allows you to run a few extra cards, some more spells and traps. But next up is the Symphonic Warrior engine. So 3 guitar and 1 mics. Mics is important because it gives you an additional normal summon. This is a scale 7, so it allows you to pendulum summon out other things with a scale 1. So if you add it back to your hand, you can just pendulum summon that way. It's a 2300, but it's level 5, which is why it's important. Next are 2 copies of Speedway Passing Glider. Passing Glider is another additional special summon. If there are no monsters on the field, so this is good if you go first. If you know you're going second, side this out. You'll side in other things. But Passing Glider is fantastic if you're going first. Win the die roll, you want to have it. If you lose the die roll, then it's just discard fodder, or you can pendulum summon it. So it's not really dead, and it's a 3 scale, which is important. Next up are 2 copies of Gold Gadget and 1 copy of Silver Gadget. These are just a summoning engine. You can substitute these out for Cyber Dragon if you so desire. Cyber Dragon's actually really strong in this deck too. I just like the gadgets because of what my extra deck is. But they let you special summon another monster. So that's pretty cool. Alright, next up, 3 copies of Dinomist Charge. Charge is a searcher for any Dinomist card, so if you see this card, you're going to do well, because when it's sent from the field to graveyard, any Dinomist card, you can once per turn add it to your hand. That effect is a soft once per turn, so if you have all 3 of these active, you can, add 3 different Dinomist cards back to your hand, which allows pendulum summoning to be ridiculous. Next up are the draw spells, so 2 copies of Moray of Greed. Because it's mostly water, Moray of Greed's really strong. 2 copies of Ignite Reload. This is just resetting your hand. Like if you open Passing Glider and you're going second, this is just a good way to get rid of it and get a new hand. 1 copy of Pot of Desires, because Desires is a one-of, is perfectly fine. And the reason it's good is because you can't Desires into Desires as a one-of. And that's it for the spells. Now onto the traps. 3 copies of Dinomist Howling. Howling is the best trap card, like one of the best trap cards in the game, and it's so good that it's a Dinomist card only, because it lets you tribute 1 to bounce a card, and you can set your scales, and it just locks you into pendulum summoning only Dinomist cards, which is fine, and then 1 copy of Rush as a special summon from the deck. Alright, that is it for the main deck. Let's get into the extra deck. So, the extra deck is pretty linear. It's pretty much only Exceeds and Links. But we're going to jump right into it. Bahamut Shark, totally awesome. Bahamut Shark, summons totally awesome. Your typical ending board will, if you can get it to go off really well, is Cyber Dragon Infinity, Decode Talker, Bahamut Shark, totally awesome, and it's pretty easy to get to that. So these are really important to your combo. Then Ragna Zero, it's just an OTK enabler. It's a big, it's a rank 4. You could substitute this with a Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller is really strong. Next up, number 27, Dreadnoid. This card's incredible. All it needs to do is destroy something by battle, and you get to go into 1 of 2 cards. So you can either go into Super Dreadnought, Rail Cannon, Gustav Max. This is just for burn for game. If you go into time, that's what you'll use this to get into this to go for game. Or this big guy, a Super Dimensional Robot Galaxy Destroyer. This destroys back row decks because it just destroys the entire back row, and all you have to do is detach 1. And it's a big 5,000 body. It's one of those things that just puts back row decks in a bad spot because it's a Harpy's Feather Duster. Next up is Cyber Dragon Nova, Cyber Dragon Infinity. Nova doesn't really do anything in this deck, but if you do have Cyber Dragon, if you want to run Cyber Dragon, you can. You're going to see here in a minute why I run the gadgets. But Nova and Infinity are really strong in this deck, especially because everything's level 4 or level 5, so really good stuff. Next up is one Cleave 4 Genius. Cleave 4 Genius you don't go into a lot, but it's a good rank 2, link 2 to be able to go into. Its effects don't come up too much, but when you Pendulum Summon, if you do summon this and you have the Pendulum stuff in hand, you can Pendulum Summon the 2 level 5s there and then get a free search, which is pretty awesome. Next up is Mistar Boy. Most of it's water, so Mistar Boy is really strong. One Platinum Gadget. This is why you run the 2 gadgets. Because the entire deck is machines, this card's really strong. And then during the main phase, you get to special summon 1 level 4 or lower a machine monster from your hand to a zone this card points to. So it allows some pretty cool stuff in that respect. Obviously, 1 Electromite. It's Electromite. It's really strong. 1 Decode Talker. Decode Talker is so important in this deck because it gives you a free extra negate. Because it gives you protection, so you'll have Infinity, Toad, Decode, and then Bahamut Shark here, and you'll be able to wipe him out. Borlo Dragon for stealing monster, like taking care of problem cards, and then Boral Sword Dragon, obviously, for game. And that, ladies, gentlemen, and those of unspecified affiliation, is my Dinomist deck profile. I really do enjoy playing this deck. It's not a deck I play a whole lot, but it is one of my fan favorite decks. I've always liked this deck. I've liked this deck for a while, and I've been consistently learning pendulums here lately, so I hope you guys enjoyed my Dinomist deck profile. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.